Hey guys, welcome back to Thirds of a Tale. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Black Book's a film on Netflix. So the breakdown of the Black Book is after his son is framed for kidnapping, a bereaved deacon takes justice into his own hands and fights a corrupt police gang to absolve him. And this was a Nigerian film. I did not know this coming in. so so what are your thoughts on the Black Book?
For me, the highlight was I don't know if this is good for the film, but it's good for filmmakers to just know like this film gives me hope that like any film can be made. Almost any film can be made. Yeah, that was my takeaway from this. Like it gave me hope in that regard, and not necessarily in a positive way for the film, like I'm saying, but for
Oh,
filmmakers, I think it gives hope.
okay. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
okay, so I think I see where you're going, that any film can be made, but I
Mhm.
will say, as far as I've seen my fair share of Nigerian films, and I've had the opportunity to see them grow and see them
Mhm.
get better and better and better. And I will say, like, this is like one of the best Nigerian films that I've seen as far as filmmaking wise.
Mhm.
The story, like, if you guys know, I'm a big fan of revenge stories. This is kind of sort of it's a bit of a revenge story, and
Oh yeah.
so it had those elements that kept me engaged. But I will say that what impressed me the most was the set design.
Mhm. Mhm.
It felt very, very real, and I don't
Yeah.
know if it was because of just I don't know, just the realness of the location. I don't know if it was like intentional or this is just where we have this is all we have to shoot. This is the only location that we have to shoot this. So yeah. I
Let's
mean,
make
but
it work.
it felt very grounded and very real. But as far as revenge stories, it's pretty much paint by the numbers, and some of the execution on some of the stuff is kind of hit or miss. So, there's things that works well, and there's things that's like, I don't know, it really doesn't work quite as well as they probably intended.
Yeah. I think to get like into the nitty gritty of it, I think that it's a beautiful film. Like looking at it, it's beautiful. Where I think they
Mm.
missed on the execution is a lot of the storytelling aspects, the shots. I think it could have been cut better. There were times where I'm like, a lot of times where I'm just like, how do we jump to this? How do we get here? That
Mm.
wasn't very, it wasn't explained very well, and it wasn't showcased very well in the editing of the film. And I think there were a lot of moments where I audibly laughed out loud that wasn't intentionally meant to be funny, but I found them very comical. Like
Mm.
there's a portion where you discover this major thing, and she kind of yells out this date, and it's like it was just comical. There were a lot of moments like that where I felt like the story could have been tighter. It could have been a lot tighter.
Yeah. I mean, but with that said, I liked it. The director, and I don't want to get his name wrong, Editi Effiong. I can see that he understands that film is a language and he understands cinema. And I can see him getting better and better as he goes along. As far
Mhm.
as, figuring out, like you talked about, like the issues with the edit and some of
Yeah.
the delivery. I feel like he's going to get better as he goes along. I want to say he has several movies under his belt. I want to say he has one other film that you can find on Netflix that he made prior to the Black Book. Um,
Okay.
but so it's like I'm not going to totally just bash it, but because I see that there's potential there, and I see that Nigerian filmmaking is getting like better, like way better. Um,
Yeah.
so how would you rate it?
For me on this one, I'm gonna say skip.
You
I
gonna
would
say Skip?
say skip it. Skip it.
I'll say if you're like me, and I'll say stream it. If you're like me and you like revenge stories, I say watch it for that. If you want to see what Nigerian filmmaking is and what they have going on, and kind of get like a taste of that type of filmmaking from a relatively like young filmmaking, cinema hub, I say give it a stream. Check it out. Watch this for as long as you can.
Yeah, and I'll say this: I don't know about Nigerian films. In my book, I don't think they're quite there. But when it comes to shows, there's one on Netflix called Blood and Water, and that pleasantly surprised me. So if you're looking for a good Nigerian show, I would highly recommend that one.
All right, so we're gonna figure out what film we're gonna watch for next week. So Rita, spin the wheel.
All right. The Killer.
The Killer. All right.
From Netflix.
All right, so you guys stay tuned. Join us next week for a review of The Killer. And that's all we got. So see you in the next one.